Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sunday. It's the 11th of May. This year is flying away. We are about 40% of the year in. So you have only got 60% of time left for that new year, new me to become this year me. So no pressure. Always, we're here to deduce the week that was, have a little bit of fun, and just recap the week in a little bit of a light-hearted way. And I can't do this on my own. I can talk for two people, but I can't be two people yet. I haven't worked out a way. And there's not many people that love numbers as much as I do. And when I first started this, I was like a one-man nerd band. But there is a man that I enjoy watching his content so much. He's got a very unique presentation style. It's really, he goes into the nitty-gritty of data, but makes it there for common man and woman alike. The great man himself, Wooden Spoon Data. How are you doing?
Very, very well, Pom. And yeah, I mean, for a long time there, you were kind of my only go-to on YouTube, mate, to watch that sort of intricate data stuff. So I felt like, I had something to say. So I came and joined you. We're here today. So thank you for having me, first and foremost.
Hey, well, I mean, look, you know what? It's quite weird because when I first started, it was really funny because even the media was kind of like, oh, numbers, schmumbers. And over the 4 years I've been doing it, I've started to see now data is getting so much love. And it was something I used to say when I did it. Coming from a golf industry, numbers are probably the biggest development in that industry ever. I remember starting as a professional. No one ever talked about any number other than what the par was and what number club you're hitting. And before you knew it, there was degrees, angles of attack, hit rate, all these new data. It's insane, isn't it, what the numbers can tell you?
Yeah, it's pretty nutty, mate. I'm not as good as golf as yourself. I have looked at some of the numbers. One of my mates is really into it. But yeah, I definitely think the same. I remember kind of a couple of years ago, I started seeing Hoyne get on the SEN sort of stuff, and they were starting to get a little bit of numbers, and people, a little bit of pushback here and there, but there was a lot of interest, and that was something I just love doing in my free time anyway. There's a lot of people that I've kind of looked up to, like yourself, people out there in the world that are doing great things. You probably find most of them on Twitter and Reddit these days, but it's good to kind of get some chats going and have people to talk to about these sort of ideas.
Hey, it's good, isn't it? And it's funny, J-Dub, you know what? Right? It's funny. I was always good at maths, but it was just like a natural gift when I was at school. But I actually enjoy, me and Woody were talking off camera, I used to hate doing spreadsheets, line graphs, scattergrams, and it's crazy. AFL's come into my life, and I look back at year 11, Pom, and I'm like, if they taught me like this, my life might have been different because this is fun.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Like I was exactly the same. I was reasonable at like maths and stuff until it got to sort of year 11, and then I started falling behind the pack. We got our specialist and all those sort of things going on, and I dropped the hat for year 12. I was like, let's not get the score even worse. So I didn't think I was pretty good at maths, and I still don't think I'm all that great. I think a lot of it's just kind of using a bit of logical analysis, and as long as you've got a lot of numbers in front of you and have a reasonable idea where to look, you can kind of draw some ideas from that. So I don't think you need to be a genius at maths. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's good. I know, having kids myself, I get them involved in some of the numbers, and it's amazing when I always say anything that's practical is kind of enjoyable. I always thought when I was at school learning the degrees of an isosceles triangle, my brain would say, I am never going to use this when I'm a full-grown adult. This is pointless. But when you can actually apply some of them mechanics to real life and explain what's happening, they love it. Like one of my kids keeps the data on his Fortnite results now.
Yeah.
and that kind of turns me on, that he has that kind of, how can I use it to get better?
Yeah, I've never thought of that. I don't play a ton of video games anymore, but yeah, that would be, honestly, I probably don't want to look at my Fortnite numbers. They're probably really, really bad. But no, that's awesome.
It's good though. I always think if you write things, I've always had this epiphany, and it works in sport. If you write things down, it's amazing how often the answer presents itself when you isolate it as a number or as a thing.
Yeah, bang on. That's been one of the major ones. I've been reviewing the Saints Carlton match this week. We had pretty even numbers across the board in a lot of regards, and in some ways that makes it sort of hard to go, where did it go wrong? But in other ways, it makes it kind of easier to narrow down where a side got ahead as well. So, a lot of you can draw some good parallels if you just have a look and see what's in front of you, you know.
Hey, Shane, mate, no word of a lie. I just dressed my wife up as an algebraic equation, and it's the honeymoon all over again. You know what, Fred? This is a great idea. You know what? Me and the kids do have. You know the guns? We got them at Christmas. That if you fire them and you get hit 5 times, you get a shock.
Oh, are they like the like laser chest things?
Yeah,
oh, mate,
and you get like
so
a
cool.
small electric shock. We actually have a game when we do because we homeschool the kids. If you do we do like a pop quiz. If you get the answer wrong, you only get 5 lives. I get to shoot you point blank. And it's great to see them remember dates or remember something stupid under the pressure of being shot.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if I've been under that level of pressure there, Pom. But no, it's good to hear that they're coming through with the goods. I think I had a similar game when I was young, but we weren't that advanced back then. It just made the you got hit sound. So like, yeah, it sounds like they got some good stuff.
They are really good fun. Honestly, if you can get them, they were in Kmart at Christmas. They always come out, the electric shock laser tag. Like me and the wife have been impartial a few times, had a few wines and just shoot each other with it.
I was thinking like could get the housemate, the partner, and just like have a few drinks after dinner, be like, right, game's time. Like, you know, chuck on the vest.
You know what, Fred? You've given me an idea. Maybe we should do like a watch along where if Carlton like make a mistake, I get an electric shock as voted by the chat.
Yeah, that could be terrible. Like imagine like good stats get you good results, right? Like you maybe get, I don't know, a drink that you like, you get to have a sip of a drink or something that you want. Whereas bad result, Carlton out in the full. That's the 4th one. God dang it, one more and I'm in trouble. You know, it'd be great.
I reckon that'd be a great game on Carlton's kicking efficiency. Like I have to pick 5 players that will play well, and every time they make a mistake, I get punished. That would be good. Mrs. Pom's hand, she is in like a massive cast at the minute, so she burnt her hand, and she's one-handed for the next 3 to 5 days. So I'm having to pick up the slack.
Yeah, fair. No, that's rough. My dad many moons ago when I was quite young, he was making dinner for me and just bolted out the door one night. I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, like a mate's mum walked in about 15 minutes later and she's like, yeah, your dad's gone to hospital. He's just burnt his arm really bad. Like, he'll be back tomorrow. I was like, all right, I think I was 11 or something. This is very weird.
That was a bit like what Zoe did. Zoe was cooking tea, dropped the ball, and she set fire to what happened. It was one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed from afar. But as she was pulling out the wedges out of the oven, she caught the dishcloth on fire. And instinctively, she grabbed the tray that she had with the towel with her other hand to free up the towel. And then I let out this blood-curdling scream, and she's obviously just touched a real hot thing. And I was actually quite good because I didn't laugh until I got her under the cold tap, and that's when I started to laugh.
I really struggle with that sometimes. Like, if something out of the blue happens and it's like a comedy sort of situation, like old school slapstick, I can't help myself, man. Like, it's really bad.
Guilty pleasure of mine is laughing when my kids or my wife or anyone in this house hurt themselves, and they do it to me as well. When I broke my ankle a couple of years ago's chat will remember, David laughed at me for a solid 5 minutes before he got mum, which was great. Was great kid. Love him to pieces. But I'll never forget it. He just laughed. But we've got a great week, Woody, haven't we? This has probably been one of the more exciting weeks, I would say, of football that I can remember.
Well, every time I thought that I could kind of turn it off and it was just kind of a nothing match, like all of a sudden I'd look at the score like 10 minutes later or finally paid attention because it's on in the background. And like, Sydney Essendon, all of a sudden it's a good match. And I'm like, oh, hang on, I've got to sit down and pay attention to this. So, yeah, great weekend. It was really good. Apart from
all the games have been pretty good. Big Dylan's in chat. And as Dylan will remember, Woody, and I know you've watched the show as well, we do the only live power rankings ever, right? So these are only done game by game. We can only move the teams up or down. And then after that, it depends on the other games, should they stay there or not. This has been going from pre-season. We've had some big shifts. We've had some big rises. And we'll start, I suppose, easy with top of the ladder, Collingwood, who played Fraudmantle, as I've christened them. We've got to dispel a myth here, Woody, don't you think? I know people said they rested players, but there was still, 16 Premiership players on the park?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's resting players in some regard, right? Like, of course, some of those players, you'd love them in the side, but I mean, the quality of backup was there, and it's not like you were losing much from those players. I think Collingwood's fairly depthy, at least in that sort of first 5 or so players post their best 22. And I think they got exactly what they needed out of them. Next man up.
With Fremantle, do you worry? Because it feels like every one of their losses, in my opinion, that midfield that everyone gushes over has been absolutely pants and negated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it honestly could be the dual ruck issue still. I just don't think Darcy's come back in great form, and I don't think that Jackson really is a forward. Like he provides an outlet on wings and stuff going forward, but being a genuine marking forward, not so much. So I think their main sort of group, missing Hayden Young, that's going to be a big loss. He's kind of their get out of jail free card for the last year or so. But I mean, I think looking at the players, they should be better than what they're producing. Even say missing that Hayden Young. So for me, it's an odd one. I think they are definitely looking a bit fraudy. I had them potentially making that jump this year into the 8, but don't know if that's happening anymore, to be honest.
Do you think Chat and Woody, would you obviously we can't move Collingwood higher than 1, but Fremantle, do they need to be lower than 11th based on what we've seen?
Who do we got? I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, we're getting into the next matches, but I think you guys are probably a step above Freo as a general.
I think 2 losses in a row, you've got to be punished.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got to be punished. Not that Blues go up and we haven't even talked about them.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, the only one that maybe for me, and I still don't know if I believe that they're actually okay or not, is Essendon. They've started to kind of show a lot more than I thought they would this year. And for me, they're kind of potentially at the level of jumping Freo. I don't know if I have the cojones to say that really, as how people, perceive the league. But yeah, Docker's 12th, maybe down to 13th is kind of, it feels about right.
You know what? You know what? Fred agrees with you. I'm happy with that, chat. We've got to talk about Port, but I'm happy with that. And then I hate to do this to you, Woody. Carlton Saints. So
yeah, to be honest, right, there's a couple of teams that probably jump us. As much as Giants are probably a little bit fraudy, we're not looking 100% contenders either. So I think, considering we lost to you, I reckon we probably jumped down to the Port sort of area. Whether we did beat them. Yeah, I'd say we're probably 11th over Port just.
Well, I did have a rule with Fiona from Bombers Banter last week, right? And I had a little bit of a dubious game because she allowed me to kill fraud Giants because I've been on that train since round 0. I left Saints above Carlton on the proviso that next week I'm allowed to move Carlton into the 8.
Yeah. Look, I think there's a good Cape Wall down there says swap Carlton with Saints. I think that's fair enough, to be honest. So at least 9th, maybe up to 8th, because Sydney, don't know what I think about them either.
You know what? I think, look, great form at the minute. I know Essendon, you can probably make the same argument when we come on to Essendon. They've beaten no one. Carlton have beaten Geelong and Saints, and then 2 clubs that I'm questioning at the time if they were football clubs. But for my own mental health, I just want to see my Blues.
I think 8th is fair. No, I didn't quite see Sydney and Suns. They were kind of blurring into one there. I think Sydney's not quite top 8 material right now.
And then a team that keeps surprising. And this game, if we'd done this at third quarter, I would have been saying, maybe we've underrated Melbourne. But Hawthorn, it has to be said, once they went through the gears, they was about 10 places on the ladder difference in that game. It started off tight, but again, what I keep saying about Melbourne, 1980s football doesn't exist in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you're bang on. They're a throwback to the old ways of footy in a lot of regards. But they're kind of missing some key pillars of old footy, right? Like, they just don't have that tall forward. And you need that as a get out of jail free card if you're going to run the old school setups. I'm hesitant to put Melbourne anywhere else. I don't think they're in that bottom 3, but I don't know if I could put them any higher either. What do you think, Pom?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because with Melbourne, like, the bit that keeps killing me is North beat Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I know you shouldn't think like that, but I agree with you. But it's what I said to Fiona last week. My issue with Melbourne is if we did this power ranking since they won the flag, we would say the same. Why do they not have a dominant key forward?
Yeah.
And it's almost negligence at this point that they don't, because it's not a new thing. And I keep saying it's almost like they are the consummate tight-fisted uncle. Like, they've bought in Josh Shackey at one point. Like, they are just obsessed with a failed key forward. And there's been so many on the market since then.
Yeah, I mean, I also think back to their probably best season. I think it was the year they won it. I might be getting my years wrong, but when they got Ben Brown from North, he was a reasonable full forward, like not the top sort of 2 or 3 forwards of the league, maybe not at that point of his career, but good enough to get 40 odd shots plus up in a season and get those goals that they're just missing right now. And I mean, he's kind of like, I mean, if he was still there, I think they'd be going further if his body still held up. But yeah, structurally, they're just all over the place for me.
Shane, they could do with Riley Thilthorpe, but I mean, we'll come on to that great man in a bit. But Hawthorn, right? I agree. I think 15th is well Melbourne are. We might have a conversation when we come to the Richmond game, but Hawthorn, they keep doing it, don't they? Like, them injuries on paper, they haven't really got a true key forward apart from Joel.
Yeah.
And they keep doing it, don't they? There's something about the Hawks. They keep doing it.
It's an interesting one with the Hawks. It's really, for me, it's that sort of idea of movement over personnel. And I mean, my major hang up on the Hawks at the start of the year was didn't trust their key forwards, didn't really trust their small forwards either. And for that reason, I couldn't see them getting enough scores throughout the season to really threaten in finals. But to be honest, it's really shown that, the way you move the footy is almost most important. And personnel, while they're, obviously, if you got somebody like Riley Thilthorpe that can clunk them like nobody else, then yeah, awesome. But I mean, the way you move the ball almost seems to be more important now.
Can we move? What does chat and what do you think? Do we move Hawks up, or is 6th where they are?
I don't know if I could really put them above anybody there.
Like I feel, because we've just bagged Melbourne, 30 points was probably par.
Yeah, I think you kind of would want that based on where we're expecting power rankings to be. I think 6 is fair for now. Maybe as we review further games, we'll think differently. But I think leaving them there for now is not bad.
Do you know what I mean? Ahead of the Dogs, the chat are saying.
Oof. I don't agree with that. I'll be honest, I have been a big Bevo knocker for the last year or two or whatever it's been. And I think he's kind of proven me wrong in a few ways. And it's frustrating because I think he's a bit of a tosser sometimes. But that being said, the Dogs they've taken a big loss in Darcy in their stride. They've gotten more players back and just developed to their depth. There's still players that are coming forward, much like the Hawks as well. I don't know if I could put them above the Hawks on form either. I'm not sure that it quite works. I think that sort of 4 to 6 is a hard group to split. And I probably do still have the Dogs at the top of that sort of group.
It'd be an interesting one because I feel like Dogs think their way out of it, don't they? It would be an interesting one. I mean, I think fully strong. If you brought Darcy back, I would say the Dogs would definitely win that game.
Yeah, bang on. And I think that's where I think they're just a little bit off their best, but it's not a ton. Maybe, look, I don't know. If chat really thinks that, maybe I'm wrong. If, sometimes your personal biases get in the way.
You know what, so chat? We've got to talk about other teams, right? I'll compromise. Because
I think that's fair. Fair. That sort of 4 to 6 is hard to pick.
We've got to talk about them. Do you know what I mean? I reckon we've got to talk about them. But then we've got Pom's Lock of the Week last week. I had an Essendon fan, the wonderful Fiona, tell me Pom was mental when I said her team would beat Sydney. And the Bombers should have won this by more. In fairness, they just didn't have the skill set. But they did get the job done. And Sydney, they look very fragile at the minute, don't they, Woody?
Yeah, I had them iffy on making the 8 after. I don't trust a team that moves on a coach after making a grand final. I think there's too much infighting and stuff going on there, politics behind the scenes that isn't just focusing on footy. And I don't know if you really should have axed a coach. Maybe he wanted the time to be up early, that sort of thing. But for me, it feels like there's issues behind the scenes in the Swans, and we're seeing it play out on the field. So I don't think they'll do much this year.
I'm with you. And Sydney, it's like the opposite of the Dogs, isn't it? Like The Dogs have had, I think, at the start of the season, just as, if not more catastrophic injuries and found a way. Sydney, it feels like it's literally golden, Amati or bust. Like they've not got the replacements, and they look 6s and 7s.
Yeah, they're not looking right. And like it was early in that match that I was like, oh, I mean, obviously Essendon got out to quite the lead, and Sydney pulled it back, but I mean, I nearly stopped watching at halftime because I just couldn't see a way that Sydney could pull it back, and it was on in the background. I ended up watching a bit more, and it was a good match, but yeah, I mean, Aaron missing in the goal square. Sydney just seems to shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, and they don't quite make the moves they make when they were at their best last year. Almost would put them. Honestly, I think they go down below the Giants. Whether they go below like St Kilda, questionable. I'm not sure that you could quite say that yet, but yeah.
You know what? I like it when you see. I agree with you. I think they're here on rep, though.
Yeah.
I feel like they're here on rep. I do feel though. Chat won't agree with me because they hate Essendon, most of them. I know the lunchtime pod, great Essendon channel is in there, but I do feel on what we've seen thus far, Essendon have been more impressive than Fremantle.
Yeah, honestly, wasn't something I really thought of, but I think you're right. I'd put them up to 12th. I think they've been more impressive than Port.
You know what? Lunchtime pod. Last week, I said the aim for Essendon is to be the best side in the third tier. Right. That's where I had them at the start of the season. I think that's fair that we give them a week in the second tier, in the big daddy section.
Like we haven't gotten to Port yet. It's not like Port have looked particularly terrible this week, but Essendon have looked a lot better than I've expected them to look the entire year. So I think Port has had quite a few rocky weeks, and if they were to go up against each other, I think I'd tip Essendon. So yeah, I think you got to move them above.
Do you know what I mean? Digsby, as always, we're going to come on to Geelong. They will cop their spray like everyone else does. But this game, right, I had the privilege of watching it in the halftime of the Showdown. And then I went back and watched it in the evening, the full game. And this might be the only game ever that I might suggest both sides have to move up. Because I thought the Doggies were just... That fourth quarter burst from them was just too good.
Yeah, they scare me. I don't. As a Saints fan, I don't mean to be bitter and jealous, but I am, and They're really good, and I was kind of hoping St Kilda might be better than the Dogs this year. Maybe we're closer to that sort of flag. I don't think we are. Dogs looked really good. Really, really good. Gold Coast obviously got out to some strong form and held them off at TIO. But yeah, you might be right. The thing is, right, the only thing I'd say, though, is the game after that becomes a problem because I don't know about it. I don't know if you can really jump Adelaide.
Well, I mean, I do think we can play a little bit of a fun game, but I was suggesting, right, this, right? I was going to suggest for this stage, right, because obviously Gold Coast have beaten Dogs. They are undefeated Gold Coast bar the Richmond game. Right, so Gold Coast have beaten the Dogs, so they're just desserts, and then the Crows move, right? Because we haven't talked about them. We're about to talk about them, but I don't think the Dogs deserve to be punished.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think the Dogs particularly deserve to be punished. And I think, obviously based on the match, you should have the Suns ahead. So, yeah, I think that's a fair decision for now while we've still got matches to go.
And then we've got the mighty showdown, the Crom Poms. We don't have second teams, but a team that Pom does enjoy giving a bit of glaze to is the Mighty Crows. And I thought this was probably one of the best showdowns I can remember. And I have been really impressed with the Crows, particularly in the last 4 weeks of them working out a way when they lose stoppage to try and slow the game down. And I think you've seen the last 2 weeks, albeit against Carlton, who played horrendously. I thought this week the Crows did show that they've got a way. They've got a way. And them weapons are so hard to beat. I don't think many defenses can cope with that.
No, their forward line is out and out the best. Like there isn't, like their starting six isn't really matched up easily against by any team. The kind of the three-headed beast of Walker, Fogarty, and Thilthorpe, it's too much for almost any defensive trio. Gold Coast is probably the only one that might hold up to it. And then, or maybe Hawthorn. But then, I mean, they found a new way to do it this game, which is what I've been kind of wondering if they can figure out or not. Because they've got offense, but can they stop another offense has been the big issue so far. And they managed to keep, while they didn't get the score they wanted, they shut down the game and played the game that they wanted to play. So for me, it showed that they've got a new level, a new way of playing footy that they've kind of started figuring out. I wonder if you have to put them up. I'd say I'm a Glazer too here, mate. I think we might be the wrong people to ask about this because I tipped them to win the flag before the season started. So I'm either a massive nufty or a genius, right? So I don't there's kind of, I would think almost they have to jump Hawks because I don't know if I believe the Hawks yet 100%. I don't know if they can jump the other two. And it's weird because we had the Hawks just before saying they were great, but when you go match by match,
I do feel though that the Hawks, with what we've got Geelong to talk about, who I do think fall, but we don't think ahead. But I do think the only thing that separates Gold Coast at the minute is, yes, I think their draw has been kissed on the willy, but I always say this: I've given them the whole pass against Richmond because that is Gold Coast doing Gold Coast things. And since then, they haven't Gold Coasted. Watching this game, this is a game the old Gold Coast would relent and not beat them.
Yeah, I agree. They've found that new level. Gold Coast and Adelaide both year have found that new level. And I don't know. Those two are very hard to pick for me. Both I really liked coming into the year. I thought the Suns would sun it up at some point, as you've said. They haven't done it yet though, so I wouldn't put the Crows above Gold Coast. Just they sunned it up against Richmond, but they haven't done it consistently. So I don't know if you'd put them above the Suns. I don't know if you put the Crows above the Suns yet.
I think I think at the moment as well, I think the Crows, I just can't see how the Dogs backline, because my question mark on both the Crows and the Dogs is their backline.
Yep.
I don't think that backline could handle Thilthorpe, Fogarty and Walker at this stage.
No, not a chance. Not a chance at all. I mean, Lob's gotten a lot better as a defender. Maybe they bring Bustlinger in to kind of make sure they've got that extra tall, but they couldn't throw Buku back. They couldn't really do much with the kind of setup that they have currently. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say Suns, Crows kind of should win out in a match against the Doggies. I also like the Crows' defense, although they're a bit no-namey. We've obviously discussed Nick Murray. great player defensively, one-on-one. And then I like Max Michelini, Hinge. I'm a fan of Nankervis. So I think they've got a lot to work with defensively. I just think they're all quite young and it hasn't quite clicked. So Crows are above the Dogs for me.
Tell you what, the chat giving the Dogs a lot of love.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we both said it. Like, we kind of glazed Adelaide a fair bit this year.
You know what, chat? Look, I'm going to give a glaze tax because me and Woody have glazed them. You know what? I'll trust you. Look, glaze
I think
tax.
This is wisdom of the crowd moment, you know? I think we give them this.
That's why we have you, chat. I say you're the best chat in the world. This is why. Do you know what I mean?
Hang on.
Top. But then the Battle of the Basement Dwellers was probably, you could argue, the tie of the round. Richmond winning out, showing some great heart and some great courage. And you know what? Richmond do continue to amaze me. I said a couple of weeks ago that I think there'll be 5 to 6 wins. They're now what, at 3 wins?
Yeah. I thought this was their max for the year. I thought 3 was like the best they could do. Yeah, I can see 5 wins for them. Easy. I kind of can't believe they're not the ones massively bottoming out this year. I really thought the Eagles would jump. Thought the Roos would jump more. But yeah, wow. Like they've really performed this year, Richmond. I think getting Bolter back has been a massive thing for them when he can play, obviously. Yeah, he really shores up that defensive line. They've got Lynch running around the best he has for 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I mean, I like what they've done with like the kind of experience and kind of elder statesmen, the younger kids. They're doing all right.
Mate, I think you've nailed it. And what I liked about this game is they gave up the lead after dominating.
Yeah.
And my big thing about Richmond is, can they galvanise when the game gets away from them? We all know what young sides are like when the tails wag. And there's been a few times that teams have fought back. I was really, really proud of Richmond. They're like my pet project, Richmond, at the minute. Like, I want them to do well. Like, because I feel like they've attacked the draft the right way. I hate clubs who cheat the rebuild. And I think Hawthorn and Richmond, I always have a little bit of a soft spot for them because they did it the right way. They said, you know what? We ain't banking on wins. We're going to get better. And I do like that kind of attitude.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think there's a lot to say about, as we mentioned earlier, like the actual game plan over personnel. I don't think you always need superstars to win a match or even maybe a grand final. Historically, there was the Baby Bombers. There's a few teams that have kind of come out of nowhere to get it done. So, I mean, I think that just comes down to the belief, backing in your plan and going and doing the hard yards.
Mate, I agree. I can't move these sides. Like, obviously, there's no... I can't put the Eagles lower, but Richmond... I kind of want to put them above Melbourne, but can I? Because I feel like in the real ladder, they're beneath them.
Yeah, for me, it's hard. Like, Melbourne should be so much better than they are. Like, and they show glimpses of it too, which is why you sit there going, oh, well, they can't really be in that bottom 3. But then you think about it and you're like, oh, well, the bottom 3 show glimpses of being better than Melbourne, or at least what Melbourne has put out consistently. So for me, it's hard. I think this is where it kind of has to stay. I don't think the teams below Melbourne have shown enough to jump them, but it's becoming a thinner line between that group. That's for sure.
It's tough. It's tough because I feel like there's like legitimately at this stage 6 sides that could win it, and then another 4 potentially could win it. Like if they got their act together.
Yeah, I've kind of got. I mean, if we we're going to say this group. Oh, yeah, no, actually could do the same sort of thing there. Last time I chatted about like sort of power rankings where I thought people could end up. The only two from like the underneath St Kilda that I had that could maybe get into the finals and kind of make a run for it was Sydney and Carlton. So honestly, I'd say underneath St Kilda, I'm not sure if any of those sides can make finals. I'm wondering if St Kilda can either, but there's a big thing back here that says Saints, and I'm a Saints man, so I'm not going to say that.
I agree with you. I think the second tier, I think if you removed Essendon, with all due respect, I think too soon for them.
A little bit.
And the injuries, I feel like, are going to catch them out later in the year. You can't lose Draper and you back up Brian. And as good as Goldstein is, the sands of time are unbeaten. I feel like if you added Fremantle there, let's just say, I'd say any of them 12 sides, if they actually played their best,
could make
potentially
finals.
Could beat anyone.
Yeah, I think on their right day, I think swap probably Melbourne and not Melbourne, Freo and Essendon, and I think from 12 up, if they had a good day and the opposition didn't, it might be a surprising story sort of thing.
Well, I mean, we come on to my favourite team, the fraud Western Giants. Do you know what I mean? The biggest enigma. We've had the Paul McCarthy conspiracy theory. I think GWS being everyone's second favourite team is the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I reckon that's BS.
2 out of 5 in their last 5. They have been very poor. But to their credit, and this is my only reservation of Geelong. Geelong were my favourites to win it in the preseason. Mentality, intelligence, been there and done it. They're not overawed. My one question mark with Geelong is you take their points of difference away, like Bailey Smith, and you play a fast brand of football, you can get them. And I feel like GWS, all the negatives I have of them, they are a one-trick pony. They were allowed to one-trick pony this week, and they love playing Geelong for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're also teams that have kind of got the Mickey over the Cats as well, being the Blues and Saints. So I don't know if I'd put them top 2. How far down they go, that's questionable.
Where looks right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels weird to have the Suns that high, but I'd probably be, I'd probably say just above the Dogs.
And then, obviously, GWS, I feel like they've got to fly up as well.
See, I don't know if they do. Maybe... I don't know if they do. Because for me, Freo... geez, I'm getting all the names wrong tonight. I think the Giants are pretty close. For me, they could only really maybe jump one spot. I'd maybe put them over the Blues, but it's iffy. I wouldn't confidently say that.
Can I just say, chat, you can back me up here. Every time I have done this, put the team above Carlton and said, we'll see next week. Then we'll be able to tell. It has paid off as a win, right? It is uncanny how often it happens. I think GWS going back into 8th above Carlton, right? Because of an impressive... But then again, we beat Geelong.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know if they can move up. The only one I'd put them above is Carlton. And that's... iffy.
Because Hawthorn beat them quite comfortably.
Yeah, exactly.
GWS. We beat Geelong quite comfortably. I can't move Geelong below the Giants because I think their record speaks for itself.
And I don't know if Geelong can go below, say, Adelaide or Hawthorn. So for me, I can't. I don't think I could put Geelong any lower than that. I think 5th is about as low as they could go. And then the Giants, I couldn't put them above 8th. I could leave them in 9th very comfortably. Part of me thinks maybe they could be 8th, but I'm very comfortable with where it is for them. I wasn't sure they should move in the first place. I think this was a match. If all things went the way the Giants had thought at the start of the year, they would have come down thinking they were a very good chance of winning this match. So I think until
And
this point
I feel
of the
like
year,
you've got to
they've
give
been poor.
Geelong credit. They've beaten Pies.
Yeah.
They've beaten
Yep.
Hawks.
Yep.
They've beaten the Crows. And obviously they beat Melbourne, right? Like they're probably where they should be because they've beaten all these other sides.
Yeah, around that sort of similar spot. I think that's fair. Like I come back to the thought of preseason Giants versus Cats, probably a little bit more question on the Cats. Like how is Bailey Smith going to do? They've got a couple more retirements, that sort of thing, right? And then Geelong, I mean, GWS would have probably thought they'd come in and have a really good chance of winning that match before the start of the season. I think only the last few weeks would have put doubt into that mind. So for me, I think this is fair. I think they're about the right spot.
And this is probably going to be the one that confuses everyone, right? A draw just before we went on air.
Yeah.
One of the more bizarre games I have ever watched. And no offense to North, I feel like Brisbane were there for the taking.
Yeah, 100%. Like, North just couldn't pull the trigger. Like, they just couldn't get it done. And honestly, I don't know if you could move either teams off of it. Like, maybe you could put North up one, but even then, that's debatable for me. Like, Richmond played quite well. So,
well, I mean, I feel like Brisbane, they lost to the Pies.
Yeah, they lost to the Pies.
But they destroyed the Suns.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if either of them can move. I think they can't.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, I can't put the, like, part of me wants to put the Suns above them or a team above them. But I just feel like last week, the Lions monstered them. I feel like we gave a whole pass to a few teams for an obvious loss, right? They didn't lose. Like, I feel like this was their worst game that they've ever played this year, and they still nearly stole it.
Yeah, I don't think Brisbane really looked competent for most of the match. Like, they looked pretty off their game for most of it. So, I mean, maybe that's credit to North that we're not giving them
credit to them.
But for me, it looks like the Lions just weren't clicking. And I mean, it's away from home. Maybe it was just one of those games where they kind of came in. It was a bit too cold for them tonight. Like, I don't know, right? Like, it feels like a mulligan rather than like something you'd worry about. So I don't know. Yeah.
I'm with you. I got the impression that they thought their work was done at halftime.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it felt like
they
were waiting for North to implode. And credit to North, they kind of did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was 20 points at halftime. I mean, at halftime, 20 points over North, yeah, you might think that's maybe enough to kind of ride out throughout the match sort of thing, but you'd still want to put some stretch on that being, where we've got them in the power rankings. So it's tough. I mean, I think Brisbane should go down, but at the same time, I can't justify who they should go, like who should go above them.
And on the same token, North have put games away. I mean, Richmond have put games away.
Yeah.
North,
yeah, exactly.
Aside from the Melbourne game, they haven't put anyone away. And like Richmond, I know it's a different opposition, but they've just beaten the Gold Coast, who came at them hard. They beat Eagles that took the lead when they were in cruise control. I feel like Richmond play North, Richmond win every day.
I think that's a 50-50. I think we might see a similar game to sort of the Eagles-Richmond. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going to say similar game to Eagles-Richmond, Richmond won that. So I'd struggle to put them above Richmond too. I think it's fair where most people are right now.
I think based on this week, we have an accumulation, Woody. I agree with you. I think Pies still are, unfortunately for Blues, the best side in the land. Brisbane, I'm willing to give them a mulligan. What they'll do this week, I think, will maybe dictate that big week for Brisbane, because I think this is the time to play Brisbane, isn't it? Just a question mark has happened. They've got Melbourne, a team that we should see 4 points. But if I was Melbourne, I'd be quite keen for this going. Let's make it a bit tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting match. Where is it? It's at the Gabba. Okay, so, I mean, I would back Brizzy to find their form again. But if they don't, it's like, all right, well, you didn't do it against one bottom 3 side. Now you've done it, a side we think's generally sort of bottom 4-ish. Where are you at then? So this is a big week for Brisbane. If they screw this one up, they might slide those rankings a bit.
I agree with Damien as well. That potentially is the tie of the round. Richmond North next week. Like Richmond, if they win that and Melbourne, Brisbane batter them, Richmond might sneak up the top of that third.
Hang on? Could you imagine if the giant frauds beat the frauds on the wharf? I mean, could you say Richmond jumps past Dockers?
I will say this: if Geelong win by more than 25 in Adelaide, if GWS win by more than 5 goals, and Melbourne lose, I will be pushing next week's host to get Richmond 13th.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how the matchups fall, if Richmond were to smash North, I mean, and likewise, we see smashings against Port and the Dockers. Melbourne, I don't have a huge load of faith in. But, I mean, if we saw just those 3 matches kind of go the way that they potentially could, you almost could make the argument that, screw it, jump Melbourne, jump those guys, and we'll get Richmond up there. So, big week for Richmond, big week for Melbourne, big week for the Lions. I mean, we're getting closer to the end of the year. It's going to be big weeks for everybody, as it's just going to get more intense.
And if Essendon did the unthinkable and beat the Doggies, like Gab's saying, this could be chaos.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing it this week, because if there's a lot of potential for upsets next week, and that would be so hard to beat.
And we'll have an answer to the question that we were debating at the start. Are Gold Coast as good as they are? Because I think the Darwin game with Hawks is really interesting for the Hawks.
The Suns have never lost at TIO. Ever. So, I mean,
I'll use the same logic that I use when Carlton fans tell me we never win in AO. And then we brought that duck a while ago.
That's it.
Always changes. There's always a first time.
That's for sure. And yeah, Hawks, it's not as if they don't play Darwin well. They've got a long history of playing up there well. So I reckon it'll be a great match. Good Thursday night match. We've needed one.
Well, Woody, I loved that bit. But now we have the fun and games, Woody. This is where it separates the men from the big girls, from the big women, from the little children. And you'll see here we've got a dearth here of different results. And as chat will know, a bunch of stuff will know better than most. This is 90% me, to be fair. Right? I'm to blame. Definitely for Ian's score, and 100% for Marnie's score at Kangas. I'll take full responsibility for them too, because I had a shocker. But the rest, I think it is. But I would say you've got a minute, right, Woody? And we're going to play like a game of football charades.
Okay.
Or charades, if you're if you're posh. If you push,
Adelaidean.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But we are going to be doing this week, chat, for the first time, players that are listed as general defenders on the AFL.
Yeah, okay.
Pom's 19th. Yeah, probably fair. Probably fair. I mean, I will say this. I think some of you are just harsh on me, to be honest. Genuinely, I think you're harsh on me. But
I've seen this once or twice, so I think you weren't too bad when I saw it. Maybe you've had some down weeks.
Mate, I've had some shockers. I'm going to put my hand up here. Look, accountability from me. Sometimes I fuck up, but I try it. But basically, very easy. You've seen it before, so I don't have to explain it too much, right? But I will give you a minute on the clock, right? So, I mean, the Marnie one is probably the worst one that I ever did. That I should have said it rhymes with cheesel, and I made it way too complex by saying it sounds like a cheese-flavored snack. Hold my hand up.
I actually did see that one, and I immediately knew that was cheesel, I'll be honest. So I think Marnie might have missed out.
Look, I'll blame Marnie, but look, I'm going to be a man of integrity. I could have done better. But chat, as always, you can help him out, right? You're very good at this. If I did it with bunch of stuff and Matt Lang, I reckon we could get 7. But are you ready?
Yep, I can only try my best.
Okay. Okay, this guy's a halfback, plays for Gold Coast, and a family member of his has been in trouble. Very famous surname. Yeah. Okay. This guy here won the Showdown medal.
Oh, I forgot who it was. Thilthorpe.
No, he plays for Port Adelaide. He's the love child of Kane Corns.
Horny man, Horn Francis.
No, the other one was taken after Sam Walsh. Same draft. The captain of Port.
Oh, Rosie.
Yeah, this guy is in the shadow of his better brother, who might be the GOAT at Collingwood Football Club.
Oh, Josh Dacos.
Yeah, he's your boy, hyphenated name.
Nazai Wanganeen Malera.
Yeah, his mate on the halfback flank has
Jack Sinclair.
Yeah, okay. This guy is used to plays for Brisbane, replaced their injury last year, had a sensational year. Old man, used to be the captain.
Dane Zorko.
6.
Yeah.
He's there.
I think I got a little bit of extra time there, so maybe.
No, we always start and finish. We always start.
Yeah, okay.
6.
Right.
Chat.
Yeah, cool.
We did it. I'm so proud. You are. Look, I knew it wasn't me.
That Rosie one got me because I didn't watch who won the Showdown, and I didn't check chat, so I was like, who is it? I couldn't tell.
Well, do you know what I mean? Yeah, we have a new leader. Woody is on the top. And the guys with 5, there is some controversy because there was about a minute of extra time I gave them. And so that is the first legit. Told you 6 was doable.
It's doable. Definitely doable. I reckon if I didn't get stuck on Rosie, I might have gone for 7. That's a shame.
I felt we were on for 10, Woody. Honestly, I started to get excited and going, we are about to change lives on TV.
There was a couple people in chat that just were like, come on, it's Rosie. And I'm just like, shit. I saw it right after.
So you say, hopefully Matt Lang lets me go up on the clues now. I did better there.
Yeah, you did well, mate. I think, mate, that your man that's like got a hyphen and then his mate on the other side. That was great.
It did help the way that we sorted them. So Mrs. P, she randomly draws. The way we do it is she picks a position, but then she picks the stat line I sort them out by.
Oh, yep.
So I've got the list here. And when I saw that, I was like, that works out so well. I'd already had the clue planned. I was like, that makes it easy. I'll just get him to get 1. He'll work out his mate.
Yeah, that was like, so it's got to be him. Otherwise, I'm going to start reeling off names again, and I'm not sure.
The Rosie one was tough, to be fair.
I just turned it off. Like once the game was like done, I was like, all right. Like I didn't watch the rest of it. So
Yeah, to be fair,
yeah.
the Rosie one was tough because Kane Corns changes his mind who he likes every week.
Yeah, I thought like Kane Corns is man, and I was like, oh, the horny dude, the one he gets a boner over. Like, yeah, that's him. Like, so,
Hey, Gav, I'm like our Carlton, mate. I started off slow in the year. I'm hitting my stride at the minute. I found where I need to be.
I think you got the harsh end there, mate. I reckon you gave some amazing clues. I reckon you maybe like didn't get it the other weeks, but I reckon you did really well, brother. Really.
Hey, look, I'm in the zone now. Do you know what I mean? I'm in the zone. I've set myself a challenge. Can we get 10? But I'm chuffed we've got 6. But this one here, shout out my mate Lek Dog. So Lek Dog is one of my best mates in the wide world. I love him. He's like a brother to me. And he was the first person to do this. Now, those who know Lek Dog knows he is a Supercoach expert. And he said on this show, 1,000 is gettable. And I said, I just want one person to beat him, right? And as we've seen now, the great Fiona last week has beaten him. Ian beat him. And Dylan sits at the top of the tree, 8:39. If we can eliminate Lek Dog off this board, I am going to be bullying this guy for the rest of my life. That amateurs have taken him out in a game that he lives. So, Woody, take us through it. This is Team Woody, and I reckon, looking at the fixtures, you are going to do well.
Yeah, well, we decided this one, I think it was after the Thursday night match. So there was a couple of players in my actual team that had already played. But I grabbed players from my team that hadn't played at that point. So I haven't kept a close eye on it. I'm shocking at Supercoach. I'd said it beforehand. I don't make any of the substitutions you're meant to make more points. I forget about double checking the captain and vice captain. So I actually have no idea what I've scored. So I'll be interested to see.
Well, I mean, you've done well because we don't have any captains here. We don't have any of that rubbish. It's just one man, one team, 1 week. No messing about. But Wanganeen Mawera, Sheasel, Bontempelli, Neil, Isaac Rankine, the horny one, and Tristan Jerry, that'll go close, man. That'll go close. Like I was looking at it today. I was doing Fiona's scores. She had one tank score. So one of her players scored 50, but the rest took it off. She was on track by game 6 to have 900 by the projections. So this could be good, this.
Hopefully. I wonder if the forwards did enough for the showdown with Rankin and Horn Francis, but I feel like the rest of them probably got good numbers, so we'll see.
Hey, Woody, I think Horn Francis. I think you've done well as well because Horn Francis, in my opinion, I watched the showdown and I said he was rubbish. So whenever I've said Horn Francis is rubbish, the week after he has a good week, so he will be on fire. And I think Rankine, I'm pretty sure Rankine could play against the best side ever and find a way. He was amazing.
The one I really wanted to get in at the start of the year. Just thought he could break out. It was sad to see him get injured last year towards the end. Interested to see how they do.
Big Shane becoming a member of the channel. Thank you very much, brother. Love to you, mate. My Geelong mate. I'm sorry we were mean to your team this week, but when you win next week, you'll be back to top 3. Don't worry about it. Probably. You'll be back to top 3.
All right, what are we doing? I've probably done shocking in the tipping.
So this is the game to win, right? So we've got Lek Dog and Ian, who got 8 out of 9. You'll see me and Caden have got an asterisk next to ours. That's because we did only 8 games. So,
mate, you guys did well.
That's all we could do. And you'll see a plethora of people with 6. So
I wonder if I've even got 6 because I know I didn't do everyone right. How'd I go?
Well, this is it. This is where we tip together here. I am.
I thought it was my last week's score. All right,
No, don't worry, mate. Don't worry.
Cool.
Look, you know what? I got 8 this week. I nearly had 9, and I
think I got 6. I went for a few upsets because I've forgotten my Thursday night tips a bunch of times in a row, and I lost a bunch of points. I'm middle of the pack now. Yeah, let's go through it.
Suns, Hawks. Who you going there?
Only because I just think for some reason the Suns have something going on up in Darwin. I'm gonna go the Suns.
You know what? I'm going to follow you into battle there. I'm going to follow you in as the placeholder. I'm not going to tip anything ridiculous.
Yeah, Hawks could easily do it. Don't get me wrong, but something just feels like the Suns are good up there. So just back them in.
No, I'm with you. Then my Blues Friday night. We take a trip to Sydney Oval. Probably the first time I've gone to Sydney Oval in my lifetime and gone, should win.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, mate, I just double check, but wow, Sportsbet has some odd numbers for that, I'll be honest. Yeah, that's for me, it's somewhat 50-50, but it's more leaning in your way based on current form. I do think being a Swans home match gives them a little bit of a leg up there. I'm still going to go the Blues.
Yes.
I don't know if I fully believe it, but I do think they have more form on their side. So I'm going to back that sort of stuff in.
Look, don't trust the Blues. I don't, and I love them. But
look,
but honestly, it's the first time that I can remember that we are traveling to Sydney, and I'm like, got a chance here.
Yeah, they've got you at 240 to win this. No,
I didn't see it today, but you know what's clever about Sportsbet is Sportsbet know about Carlton. So,
that's true. Yeah,
like Sportsbet know Carlton could turn up and just absolutely shit the bed. So, but I'm with you. But this game here is the game I can't wait to watch this. Like when I looked at the fixtures this week and was working out with Mrs. Pom when I'll be live and what I'm doing with the kids and what she's doing with her weekend, I was like, I can't wait. And I am going to be watching this game so I can spoil it for you all. This is one of the Pom watch-alongs. Collingwood Crows. They've rested players for this. This is a great game.
This is one of the ones I've been waiting for this year. I thought Collingwood was going to bounce pretty heavily this year, get back to that sort of top 4-ish realm, and I think they're on track to do it. I had Adelaide as a huge jump this year. I had them finishing second and winning it post overall. So for me, this has been one of the more interesting matches of the year. I'm gonna say Adelaide. There's something about them that makes me think they have something. They have something that scares me, and if they get it to click, I don't think Collingwood can hold on to it.
You know what? I hate to do it because, look, the Crows guys in chat know that I have a lot of admiration for them, but I do feel this is going to be the big test for me for the Pies because I keep saying this. My brain can't rationalise how Darcy Moore and Frampton works. Like, no offence to Billy Frampton, but I look at it and my brain says it's Billy Frampton.
It doesn't make sense.
But
it's
this
weird.
Is going to be the test, isn't it? Because that three-headed snake is hard to stop.
I don't think they can. Like, I just don't think Frampton has it in him. Like, the question for me becomes, does like the Crows have enough wherewithal to keep it in their forward line? Because there's a lot of rebound from the Pies at the moment, and I think David King said Houston's been down, but Houston's position on the field and what he does opens up Josh Dacos. It opens up run from Lipinski, these sort of players. So for me, it'll be that, centre battle, obviously, but once it gets to Adelaide's forward line, can they hold it in or can Collingwood get it out? Because if Collingwood could get it out, they could win this.
a bunch of stuff. I went past too, mate. I went boring. Sometimes get creative, but I'm with you. I'll say this: if the Pies win this, lock for the flag, because every question I have about the Pies that they have answered so far, they will have answered it for me, and I'll be like, okay, well done, GG's.
Yeah. I don't want to see another Collingwood flag, but they're looking closer and closer. So I might have to start coming to terms with it.
Can I be honest? The other day, right? One of my mates asked me, "Does it hurt me watching Liverpool win the title?" And like I said to him, I've seen Blackburn win the title, Leicester win the title, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City. I've seen a lot of teams win the title, and I was like, everyone equally pisses me off. I was like, I don't actually have in my brain, I'd rather them not win it, because just by not winning it annoys me. Yes, the Pies winning it would annoy me because they're our rivals, but also Giants winning it would piss me off. Hawthorn winning it pissed me off. Like, I want to win it or no one can have it type child.
I'm very much the same. I don't like. There was a once upon a time where I was like, oh yeah, the Dogs could get one and I wouldn't be that bad, but they've got one now, so they're not allowed another. So like, I don't think there's anybody that I'm okay with them winning the flag. Like, no. No, I don't think there's anyone. I think it's like I just get shitty once the Kilda season's done, and then football finally ends, and I can think about other things.
All I do is me and Miss. I'm with Gav. I'm the same. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got mates at like every club apart from the Suns, because as we know, the Suns are a government taxation. Like, there's no one who supports them. Like, they're paid actors.
Bro, 100. I don't know if you've ever tried to do a video on just the Suns. You get like 300 views, man, and screwed. Like, there's nobody there.
Like, you know what videos actually pop? And shout out to Adelaide. Adelaide has got quite and so has Geelong. They're very quiet, but Geelong
West Coast has a big one as well.
Some clubs represent. You know. I'm glad chat feels the same. Look, the only thing I do in the grand finals, me and Mrs. Pom have a stupid bet, like a back rub for 4 weeks or something like. And that's the only way I get invested in it. I'm just like, okay, I do not want to be a slave for 4 weeks. So I'm with you, Woody. Like, I don't get it. And I hate people who do it as well. Yeah, I've got a few mates who get really invested in it. And I'm like, bro, our teams are shit.
It's weird. Like, it's just like, anyway, we won't get too into it. But like, yeah, I agree. I can't once it gets to like St Kilda's out. If I really want to watch game, I generally need to find like a 1,000 to 1 odds bet and like put a couple of dollars on that and like pray like hell that it's close. So like I'm really interested in the game. That's the only time I'm ever interested in games that like where St Kilda's just not a chance in the finals.
Yeah, you know what I love about football, and it's the same with the round ball as well, because I've got a few Liverpool mates, right? And like a few of them back home have texted me going, really hope you win against Spurs, man. You deserve to be in the Champions League. And had the same in AFL. I always, in the finals, go to my mate's house, Big Jamie, and he's a Pies fan. And he always used to, his brother's a Richmond fan. So there was that great final a couple of years ago where Mason Cox turned into Hercules. And I used to go and watch it, drink beers, watch it. And like, it was always my team not in it. But one of the happiest moments when we beat Melbourne was getting texts from all the guys I watched their teams in, going, so happy for you, Pommy. I hate your football club, but so proud that you get to see your team experience what we had. And that's what makes sport great. There is a hatred of the team, but you also learn to love your mates who support the team as well.
Yeah. Bang on. I think like the camaraderie gets past the hate. Like, you know, we versed each other this week, and part of me hates that we lost to Carlton. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, our camaraderie can kind of move past that. You know, it's not going to impact anything. So, yeah, I frustrated as soon as St Kilda does anything wrong. Don't get me wrong, like anything. But you know, there's a lot. You got to level head it sometimes. It's hard.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. But then this is an intriguing game. AO, Port Adelaide, Cats off a loss. Port after a very disappointing loss to the Crows. Who do we go here?
I'm gonna lock in the Cats pretty solidly. I've been and I don't mean to be bang on about decisions that have been made in the past, but I mean, I don't, and like I said with Sydney as well, I don't trust a team that gets rid of their kind of coach in a situation that isn't just normal, right? Like asking Hinkley to move on and then not really appointing Boak, and then both being at the club and having a level of influence on what goes over in a match. I think there's too many opinions that differ. I don't think they're going very far this year, so I back the Cats in to slaughter them.
You know my big one, and it's a great point by Bunch of Stuff. Shane, don't worry, I'm tipping the Cats too, mate. But yeah, it was interesting. That third quarter, if you notice, there was a late hit, right? And there was a free kick, and Port are that team, and they're like a petulant teenager. They need the emotion. And it's interesting because usually by this stage, the clubs are saying sack Hinkley. They can't use that narrative to play for the coach because he's fucking off at the end of the year. So I wonder, do you think at the bye, Hinkley steps down?
I don't know if it's the bye. I feel like that's too early. But like, yeah, if things keep going not great for Port, which I don't see them getting better, I'd be almost certain he steps down before end of year. I think the bye's a little too early, but I don't know, when's their bye? Because they might have a round 16 bye or something. So maybe it is.
I've just got a feeling that they maybe ask him to jump before he walks, or does that? Thank you, babe. That confusing one, where they say he's still here, but Josh Carr's now in the box and Hinkley's overseeing it. It's all part of the plan.
Well, I feel like that's kind of where issues are right now, because there's two heads that could kind of have a fair bit of influence on what's going on. And I don't think, unless they're on the same page, and why would you swap coaches if they've got the exact same ideas, right? So for me, there's no way there's cohesion behind the scenes there, which is the same thing I reckon is going on in Sydney in a lot of regards. You don't see cohesion behind the scenes, so you don't see it on the football field. So yeah, for me, I wonder how Port goes for the rest of the year. I think there might be a tipping point. Like if Port were to just lose every game from here till the bye, and it's mathematically near impossible for them to make finals, I reckon they'd sack Hinkley. I think at that point they'd go get up, sort of thing.
Do you want to hear a Pom conspiracy theory? Right, and I thought of this, Shane. He's got too much pride. Picture the scene: Tasmania this week announced Todd Patterson is the new list manager and Derek Hines coming across as the recruiting manager. Yeah. I have a sneaky feeling what will happen by about the bye is Tasmania will announce Ken Hinkley, and they will then twist it as a narrative to say, because it's now public knowledge, I'm stepping back with the permission of Port Adelaide to now focus on my job. So he saves face. So he's still got the ego and he's still got his charisma intact. And he sells it as I've done the right thing by the club and not double dipped.
Yeah, I can say that. I don't know. There's two names that I've heard for Tassie, and it's Longmire, which Shane has just mentioned, and I've forgotten his name. The coach of the Brisbane Lions. They're the two that I've heard. Yeah, Fagan. They're the two that I've heard of most likely to coach Tassie. But when I heard that, both were employed. So this was last year sort of thing as head coaches. So I feel like there's that rumor's been going around a little while, and it feels like there's more truth to it than I thought originally. So.
I just think my theory with Longmire is I think Longmire knows some big jobs potentially are up for line. Do I want to rebuild a club from scratch. But I think the Fremantle job will be there.
Yeah.
I think Carlton's job potentially would be there.
Maybe, yeah.
If
I mean, you guys, it depends.
If Carlton's not finishing the 8, Voss is gone.
Voss will be hard pressed to keep his job at that point.
So is he thinking? I think what Tassie are doing, they want someone now, to start building.
I guess it comes down to his thoughts all those sort of, because I could honestly see Tassie making a play for all three of them, right? And just kind of, one of them's the head coach, the two others are kind of whatever kind of coach, midfield, forward, defense, who really cares, right? But at that point, I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a play for all three. Maybe they only get two. Maybe they manage to get both Hinkley and Longmire. Maybe Fagan gets another premiership and he's like, right, done my job, I'm out. But I don't think he will. But I think they're having a crack at established coaches, but from what we can kind of understand, it wouldn't surprise me to see Hinkley there next year. I would be a little bit surprised to see him go mid-season. That would be left field for me.
No, but Brendan Gale's been quite open. They want the announcements done before the conclusion of this year so they can start selling it to potential people. I could just see that's how they negate that ego of, right, I'll stand down if you announce I'm the Tassie guy, so it looks like I've done the right by...
I mean, that could explain a bit of why Hinkley has agreed to this transitional year as well. Who knows in a lot of regards. I think it's a reasonable question for sure. I think they're probably the three main ones that I've heard of. Maybe one of the coaches that gets sacked. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if Melbourne sacked their coach this year. It feels like it's...
Shane's at the same. And I just think that would cause a merry-go-round. So if Fagan left, that would be the most... Yeah. That would be the most... I will say if Fagan goes, Longmire becomes Brisbane coach. Because I agree. I think there's a dynasty there.
That probably could happen. I think, from what I understand, Longmire has already mentioned that he could potentially get back into coaching one day. It's very... Damien Hardwick-esque sort of comments. So, wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me to see him either at Tassie or even Brisbane if Fags decided to be the one to jump ship.
Well, talking about jumping ship, we sacked JL at Dockers. Dockers travel up to GWS on the back of a resounding win against Geelong. This, can I just say before we get the tips, this is a game that pisses me off with the Dockers because I would not be shocked to see the Dockers win it.
Yeah, it's bang on Fremantle to turn around and smash the Giants, especially away from home when there's no reason to do so. It's classic Fremantle. I'm gonna go the Giants because you shouldn't back that. You can't back that sort of thing to happen, though. It would not surprise me one iota, at all.
Yeah, genuinely, it's one of them games that it's got Fremantle 22-point win, and we're back saying Fremantle have found something.
The worst thing for me would be if Fremantle really put the sword to them. Because you just have no idea at that point. You're like, well, what do you get? Just make up your mind. Just be shocking or be good. It's just, I think a lot of the mainstream media has said it as well. The difference between Freo's best and worst is just a chasm. So, I mean, who knows what we get, to be honest.
I think quietly this is the tie of the round, one of the ties of the round as well. Next. Dogs hosting Essendon. I think a game where Dogs will be clear favourites, but I think Essendon will be buoyed. With it being at Marvel, smaller ground to defend, I feel like they won't mind it because I think they've enjoyed the congested style of football recently.
Definitely. The thing I've not really mentally taken on with Essendon yet is that they've got a good key back now, and that Zach Reed is actually very, very good. And it's not just all hullabaloo that might happen, all this sort of jazz. So he's come on, absolutely shored up their defensive structure beyond belief, to be honest. And then we've started to see Merritt going to almost a new level. And then they've needed some energy in the forward line, and Kako and Caddy have provided that in spades. So while I don't think they're going to particularly win it, they've fixed up a lot of the things that I thought were generally the issues with Essendon. For me, there's still a lot of that sort of depth issue. They're missing Ridley now, those sort of things. They're players that have been injured in the past, are very likely to get injured again, and it's kind of been their best players for many years. So I could see Essendon doing well this match because they've been doing well for a few matches now, but I'm going to give it to the Dogs.
Mate, I'm following you in, look. But I wouldn't be shocked. I agree with Gav. They'll struggle, and I agree with Shane. They do very well there. But it's just one of them games, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't be shocked to be doing this next week and going, oh, fucking hell, Bombers, they won.
Yeah, they've done that to me almost every match this year. I don't think I've picked them right once. I don't think I've got one great game.
Interesting start here.
Ooh,
1 in 5 post-Darwin games.
That's an interesting.
There's method to our madness.
Doing some of the Lord's work there. Yeah, maybe I have to rethink that. Jeez, so, I don't know.
Lunchtime, we've just seen professional YouTubers there cover their ass for next week when the Dogs lose.
Yeah, bang on. All right, here we go for the next one. What's going on?
Tigers Roos. This is the prove yourself derby, isn't it?
Yeah. Weirdly, North is the favourite going into this, and I would have thought that'd be the other way around. I don't know what to think about this one. Like, I thought this was like the time where we'd see, because I looked at the schedule for a lot of teams, right? And I remember seeing this period for Richmond, and I thought, right, Richmond could get one of these 2 games, and that'll be their thing for the year. They'll get one of their sort of maybe 3 wins. But to be honest, I'm leaning towards them again.
Well, this is that great game, isn't it? Because Richmond get their pick and North's. So, usually I'd say there's a little bit of suspect going on here that North will try their hardest to throw it because they'll get a better pick. But North really need to get ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing in it for them. And like the season is slowly, the thing about North is the season's really slowly slipping. Like the hope is disappearing. We've seen it with the Eagles already. Like, I don't know if we'll see the Eagles win for a couple of weeks at this rate. They had their real good shot and they blew it. And those sort of moments where you've mentally set yourself up, right, this is the challenge. This is a real opportunity for us. If you blow those opportunities, you set yourself back almost the whole year if you can't mentally get over that hurdle. So I wonder if last week was enough for the Roos. I wonder if they've got, like, I wonder if that draw gives them enough. I'm going to go for the Tigers, even though, like, this is a 50-50, and I could really see the Roos winning it. I feel like the Tigers have got a lot. I'm going to
the Roos in.
Fair.
But with no confidence at all.
No, none. Like, I'm not picking Richmond with any sort of level of confidence. I think it's the only reason I say Richmond is because I feel like the vibes are a little bit better at Richmond right now. That's it. They're just probably a little bit happier there. That's all.
That's going to be one of them games that I watch and, like, I'll get 8 out of 9 or 7 out of 9. And as the final siren will go, I'll be like, knew I should have chosen the other fucking team.
Yeah, bang on. So, and the last 3 have kind of been like that for me because, like, Dockers are 100%. They could pull whatever out. Who knows? And we'll all acknowledge that. Essendon, for me, has been way better than I thought they've been all year. So maybe they pull an upset. And likewise, this feels like there could be the round of upsets. We always get 1 or 2 of them a year. And it's starting to, looking at it, this one could be it.
And then we've got a great game. Demons, horrific form, vibes are low. Lions, they shock draw, but back at the Gabbatoir.
You surely can't give Melbourne like a real chance here. Like, I mean,
I'll be honest, no.
I don't think, maybe like some one-eyed supporters are out there kind of know something that we don't, right? Maybe they're more in tune with what's going on, but I don't see how it happens.
The only way they lose that is like they implode. Like Brisbane just don't turn up.
Yeah. And as we mentioned earlier, if that happens, slide them down that power rankings, mate. Like if they lose to Melbourne, that's ridiculous.
But I do feel that they'll be really pissed off this week. Like I would fear for the Demons because I feel like that was their 50% game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they still drew.
Yeah. I don't see, like, I think that gives a little bit to, like, I think the Lions will go, oh, damn, we nearly lost to the Roos. Like, we're playing a side that's 2 spots better in the ladder. Better put the foot on the pedal, like, better stomp them out of existence, that sort of thing. So I feel like it could end up being like near 100 points sort of thing. But this is one of those rounds, as I said earlier, it's, the more I look at it, the more I go, this could be the round that I get almost every tip wrong. Because like it's looking like it could be.
And then talking about 100-point losses, Saints.
Oh man, if we lose by 100 points to the Eagles, I'm a neck myself. There's no way I'm dealing with that.
You are playing a waffle side here. Like surely this is a big Saints win.
Yeah, you'd hope so. 100-point loss to the Eagles I can deal with. If we lost to the Eagles by 100 points, I'd be filthy. I'd tell Jake I need a week off. Like I can't do a video and be like level-headed. Like so.
I feel like that's a big win. Like honestly, I just have the feeling that that's a big, big Saints win.
I think we'll be upset by our efforts this week. I think we did a lot of things right, but we were really sloppy in some things that we thought we would have improved on this year. And that's where I think, if we get onto a bit of a roll, I think we might be able to do some damage there. Mate,
well, I mean, the final thing, we'll see how these mental heads of our chat tips. Let's have a look. Our chat. Did anyone get 9? Why won't that search by round score? Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it old school way. Okay, no one got 9, but I can see that Peter Harewood tipped 8. Kev Magpies tipped 8. Tilt Carter tipped 8 out of 9. Tell you what, you did pretty well, some of you in chat. A lot of 5s, some of you forgot to tip. But the leader of the pack, and tell you what, I've got to give you a big shout out because we were checking this in all the games this week. I was now sorted by that. No one got it. Is Methodical Flame, who was leading. Last 2 weeks, you have tipped against the grain and built himself a handy 1-point lead, but Peter Harewood closing him down with 8. Claire closing him down as well, 1 point in it. And then we've got some famous names here. We've got Andrew Scott, Tiger Time, who you all know. Big Nathan Church is in there. Gravy Train. And then we go down. There's Pom, 7.
I think I'm below you, mate.
There's Woody, just below me.
6. I tipped the exact score this Friday. That was my little.
Mate, you did actually. Well done. Look at that. I was 4.
That one I didn't think to put a bet on, though. to be fair, I don't bet very often.
Can I just say, the one that killed me is I was like one of 4 people who tipped Essendon.
Yeah. You were like one of 3 in my league, I think. Like, there's no one.
Blues 82, is that you, Gav? Where are you? Oh, there you are. There's the sexy little fella. I went Fremantle over the pie. His hatred of the pies goes against you.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the same thing of me and St Kilda. Like, mentally, I know what's going to happen, but I can't help myself. Like, I still pick St Kilda. So,
mate, I'm with you. Look, I go through the Carlton games. I go through stages that if I back them, they lose. If I don't back them, they win. So it's me trying to work out: am I a curse or am I? And I need to realize I have no fucking bearing on the result.
I'm exactly the same, mate.
I'm sure Michael Voss and the players don't go, fuck, he tipped against us.
Pommy, why? Like, you know, like, just,
I'm sure, but in my mind I do. But Woody, chat,
Yes.
make sure you go and check Woody out. His link is in the
Yes.
description. Woody, if they went to go and see you, what would they find at Woody's Corner?
I've been a little bit quiet, to be fair. I've been doing a lot of work with Saints TV, weekly come-outs with them for Saints reviews. I do have a video coming very shortly, kind of reviewing what is and isn't good football, efficient football. Are we calling things the right stuff? So, kind of looking at definitions that Champion Data have been using, seeing what might happen if we looked at other results. So that'll be coming out in a couple of weeks, 1 to 2. And then we've got some mid-season stuff to do. But there is all the last year's reviews as well, which we didn't get to finish that because I stuffed up. Okay, so for all Pommy's mates, we did the review for Carlton, and I was going to do all of the top 8 teams, and I was on a bit of a time crunch, but I thought I could do it. Couldn't do it. And then I basically, with Pommy, we've gone to record it anyway when I still thought it was all achievable. We've done the whole thing, done about 30 minutes chats, getting thoughts on Carlton, you know, where I might have gone wrong, where I got right. Forgot to hit record. Had to do it all again and didn't use it. Ended up on the cutting room floor, unfortunately. So thank you for getting me on, Pom, and apologies for that as well.
It was a good fucking video as well, I can tell you.
Yeah, I was so upset as well because, like, I got through like half of them, and then I had like 3-4 days, and I had to get this preview video done. I was like, I've got all this math that I've bloody done, and I'm not going to get a video out to use it, and I'm like, I've got to make this done. And then I got that done, and I was like, I got 2 days to finish this. I was like, I just can't. There's no way to do it. It's too much.
Mate, nothing worse. But go and check Woody out. He's brilliant, man. He's brilliant. His presentation style is fantastic. I've got to highly recommend. He's entertaining, and he's a good guy.
I try my best. But
good guy. He has the best description as well in the world, the 18th best AFL YouTube content creator, which always makes me laugh, which I don't think people get it.
No, I don't think they do. I've had a few people say I should be like at least 17th now. I don't think they quite get it. If anything, I'm probably going to go down to 19th when Tassie joined the league, and maybe 20th when bloody Cairns or whoever joins. So, like, you know, I don't think there's any up from here, to be honest, but that's all right.
Mate, I love it. Well, chat, make sure you go and subscribe to him. Great guy is Woody, one of my favourites. And what have you got on the PommyInOz channel? You've got the Showdown, which goes up after I click end on here, the review of that. We'll have the review of the game. We have a special Pom Cotter watch along for the Sydney game Friday afternoon. We will be watching him return for the VFL, as he is our favourite player of this channel. So we'll be doing Pom Cotter Cam. And a load of lives next week and a load of content. I've got a review video of AFL 26 because Mrs. Pom already hates me that I've stopped playing FIFA and now all I'm doing with my life is playing AFL 26. So she makes a feature in that because she tells me, is this another new game? And I have actually left that in the edit of her complaining, going, oh, for God's sake. So that's the reason. And next week, I've got a very special guest. Someone you all love to hate is the clue. You all love to hate, but you do secretly like him. And I like him anyway. But I'll see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.